Jump! Oh, it's 2. Welcome back to another week on the Smallholding. Look, Stephen couldn't resist when he saw it. He said, "It's just you, Tracy." You may notice how quiet it is in the barn because I've got the ducks locked outside at the moment. So they have been using the hatch that we've put in, but they keep coming back in. So we're trying to encourage them to live the best lives outside as much as possible during the day. The hatch is there for them to come in on a night. We're not leaving it closed during the day. It's just at the moment while I'm working in here, because to be quite honest, they are deafening. We have just had a delivery of some of the winter bedding and feed. So we have got 2. They've just dropped it off, literally. We've got 2 big round hay for the horses. We've got 4 small hay, straw, not hay, 4 small straw, instead of getting a big round bale of straw, just in an effort to try and keep it a bit tidier. The only thing is, these small bales here are £5 each, and one of the big round bales are 20 or 25, you might have put them up to. So we'll just have to see how far these go, basically. So that's what I'm doing now. Finally can get these goats all cleaned out and tidy. I'm going to put straw down instead of this bedding, which they did have. We had a few of these bales that had been cut open and had gone a little bit mouldy, so there was quite a bit of waste from them. So I just used the bits that weren't mouldy for the goats' bedding, the chickens' bedding, etc, etc. Now we're going to be transitioning over to straw. I have no idea how long this will last or anything. So first up is the goats. I'm not sure why the girls are in. They've been, their hatch is open. They've been outside all day. They've just come in to see me, I think. So while I've been doing the goat stable, Stephen's been stacking all of the bedding really nicely. We've opened up one of the straw bales and I've cleaned them out, swept them all off the top. Honestly, for such little creatures, they are filthy. And we've just put just a small bed in here because, as you can see from this one here, Apple's already eaten the bedding. So I'm not going to give them any hay tonight. They've been outside. Well, you can see the little one, Olive, is they've been out there all day, so they'll have had plenty to eat out there. And I think I'm going to start taking them down to just one feed a day, and just keep an eye on how much fodder they've got outside. We don't want them putting on too much weight, do we, ladies? So that's a good job done there. One done. Now I need to get into the ducks and get them done next, because as you can see, let's go in here just briefly. So this is already absolutely filthy. Now the only water that they've had access to are the 2 behind the little cage that Stephen's put in. Can you see how much mess they've made, even though they haven't had full access to it? So honestly, the amount of mess that they would have made if we'd have put one just in the middle, you can imagine, it's just unbelievable. So that's next up on the list for me to do. As you can probably see, I've got quite warm now. But both of my barrows are full, because that's our next problem for Stephen. We need to move the muck heaps or create new muck heaps. So the ones from last year we still haven't put onto the veg plots this year. We've been doing it, but they're still full. So we need to get rid of all of the muck that's in last year's muck heaps. But what we've decided to do, instead of reusing those, we'll kind of have those as overflows. We're going to create some in the area where the ducks are at the moment. So Stephen's trying to find some pallets. We've run out of pallets. He's actually walking in with 2 now, so he's obviously found them from somewhere. Just to make some temporary muck heaps until we're just going to use them for a year until the next growing season next year. And then we'll be able to take them down once we've finished with them. So that's his job for tonight, or for the week, however long it takes. But until I've got somewhere to put these barrows, I can't get on with the ducks, so I'm going to find something else to do. Ooh, the light's a bit iffy in here, but I just wanted to show you. So the next thing I got on with was cleaning out the chicken pen. I just use a hand shovel and a bucket for that, so I didn't need to wait for the wheelbarrows to be empty. So that was perfect. Stephen, bless him, is so busy getting on with that now. Excuse the washing in the background. I just wanted to show you though, now that we're getting some more eggs, look at the variety of colours we've got going on here. So these are from today and yesterday. Look, you've got kind of your standard browns. These are the olive colours. These are more white. I would have possibly confused that with a duck egg if it had been outside. Absolutely love the colours. And despite how clean the egg boxes are, this just shows you that when they're free ranging outside, they get mud on the feet and they come in and then stand all over the eggs that somebody else has laid. and leave it for somebody else to clean up. So these eggs, well, we don't clean up the eggs that we're using for ourselves. I would just crack it on a clean bit. But obviously when we're selling them, which we're not at the moment because we haven't been getting enough, but when we do sell them, we do tend to wash them. Some people don't like that because it washes the bloom off, but for us it's not an issue as long as you either pop them in the fridge if they've been washed or if they're used to be used up quite quickly. I'm just really pleased. I love these dark ones as well. We'll probably get more of these with the birds that we've got, the chicks. So the chicks are the Welsmers and the Rhode Island Reds. They'll just lay brown eggs next year. So when we lose these hens eventually, we'll lose these olive colours. Absolutely beautiful though, aren't they? Anyway, time for me to make food for everybody now. This is the other thing about this time of year, just to make the tea, I've got to move all of the washing that's drying. So the alga is our main source of cooking throughout the winter, but it's also our main source of heat for things that need drying. So Stephen's wellies are soaked through from when he was out shooting at the weekend. This here is what's been dried during the day, and these are clearly just drying for now. But because I'm going to be cooking, I'm going to have to get everything moved. Still, it's worth it just to have the alga on. We've came out this morning, it's Saturday morning, and we just literally just got our heads down, you know, heads down, bums up, and just got busy. So we'll take you around and show you what we've been doing shortly. But for now, it's just after lunch. We've stuffed our faces with some absolutely gorgeous bacon, and we're going to get the horses out for a couple of hours, hopefully, just out on the car park here. So this is where they go their winter standing now that they're in from the fields. What that means is I've got to put the fences up to keep them out of the places that they're not supposed to be. Now, these fences aren't electrified, I've told you guys before. It's just to give them some boundaries, which 9 times out of 10 they respect. So hopefully they will today. So I'm just going to get that sorted, and then Stephen's going to come out, give me a hand getting them out, and we can go about our afternoon jobs as well. Well, as you can see, both of them happily out. Actually, Lydia's just about to have a roll. You might have heard that foot stomp. That tells me she's considering having a roll. There, that one. However, because she's getting on, she gets a little bit nervous about rolling because sometimes it's a bit harder for her to get up than it has been in previous years, shall we say. So I'll keep an eye on her just in case she does decide to. 9 times out of 10 she's changed her mind and not bothered. But as you can hear, Stephen's using his power tools in the barn because he is working on the chicks. So you know the chicks that are in there that are getting so big, he is working on the hatch to let them out now that they're big enough, but we'll show you that shortly. But they're not fazed at all by the noise of the power tools. Yet if you cough on entering the barn and they're not expecting it, they jump a mile. So, typical horses. So this is the first time actually that I've had them out without hay nets because it's middle of the day. So normally we get them out early morning or late night and they have the breakfast or their evening meal outside. Well, some of it outside. So I need to stick around and keep an eye on them because without the hay nets they might get up to mischief. So you may see there we have got a horse blanket over a particular tree because Madam likes to eat said tree. It's not poisonous or anything, it's just took me ages to bring it back to life after they destroyed it last time. What are you up to? Ducks are outside enjoying the new pond, which Stephen will show you soon, I'm sure. Let's keep an eye on these for a minute. So Jack's working in the polytunnel there. He's given me a really big hand today. That's a good job done. He's taken out all of those ground cherries. What were they called? Not ground cherries. Yeah, ground cherries, but Cape gooseberries is the other name. So he's helping out over there. Lydia's keeping an eye on him, and that truck in the background, that van, is our neighbour's van because we had a free marketplace find again last night and needed the van to be able to pick it up. So our neighbour is very, very kind and lends us that. So I'm working in this area today. I've cleared all of this bed. There's quite a few harvests that have come out of here with the beetroot and the turnips that were in. There's some radish actually that'll do. The ones that were no good I've sent to the chickens. I'll put in the compost. I'm going to leave this kale in because it's doing amazingly still, and there's new shoots, as you can see. New shoots forming all the time, so I'm going to leave that in because it's not causing me a big problem. It doesn't use a lot of space, essentially just the stalk at the bottom there. And I'm leaving the parsley in because I keep grabbing that and it keeps coming back. So I'm going to quickly pull out any of the weeds that are actually rooted, and then I'm going to leave all of the leaves etc in the bed, and then we're just going to cover this one with horse muck. Ideally I'd like to get this bed, the height of the muck, of the soil essentially, what it'll become, back up to the top of the black plastic there. And then once this is full, that can be covered up for the winter. I don't think anything else is going to be going in here, but one of the jobs I've got to get finished today is getting the last of my onions and garlic in. So while Stephen's busy doing his thing, which you can see in the distance, I'm going to crack on with that. And these 3 beds here are still chock full of food that's going to take us through the winter. So we've got the leeks and parsnips. I've cleared out the tomatoes finally. We've got hot mustard, mizuna, what are these called, Swedes, beetroot. And then over here we've got the carrots and obviously the strawberries around the edge there. There's a couple of rogue onions in there for some reason. These lettuce are still okay to use. Obviously this one's gone to seed, so I'll give that to the chickens. There's a couple of winter lettuces in there as well. So nothing will happen in terms of filling these beds up with manure until they're cleared basically, or until a lot of them are cleared, and then we can get them filled up for winter. Realistically, these are going to have things in them right through until after Christmas. So as we start making our way through and the space becomes available, I can start adding the manure in then, and we can just spread it out a little bit. But yeah, these are going to be our main eating beds for the next couple of months. Stephen is nearly done. He's on the last few cuts, which you can still hear, bless him. I have just finally covered up the garlic and the onions that are in these beds. I still don't have anything in the very end of them. I'm not sure if I'm even going to put anything in over winter, or I might just do it in spring when it warms up, because down there really is shaded and it doesn't matter at this time of the year, but the hedge draws all of the moisture. So I'm not too sure what I'm going to do. Depends how many I've got left over basically, we shall see. So spinning around, there's a song in there somewhere. These hoops are ready for this net, so I've just been looking to find, it took me a while to find the nets that are long enough for each bed. So these hoops are ready when I've finished putting the last of the onions in the back of this bed. I say the last, it probably won't be the last. I'll fill the bed and then we'll see how many we've got left there. I did tell you guys that when this bed here, so I did tell you guys that when this bed was empty, it wouldn't have anything in it over winter. I may have to put the garlic and onions in it because I don't have enough empty space to get the rest of those garlic in that you saw me planting the other day. So I've still got the hardnecks, I think it is, to go in. Anyway, we'll see where we get to. So for now I'm going to get the other onions and get those in that we didn't get in the other weekend. Well, I'm really pleased with that. I've not gone as neat as these because I started doing it by eye because I always think it'll be fine. And then I ended up, I think I've either put 2 really close together or I've missed a row out, but we shall see. Can you see the little kind of mounds? What I've done, I've gone along with the hoe and I've just covered them up with a little bit of the extra compost. This has got horse manure on it from, I think this was from last year. So you can see where I haven't turned it over, it's still quite visible. You can tell that it's the rotted horse manure. But then here, how nice is this once it's been turned over? Really good. So the mounds where the onions are, just to give them a bit more of a fighting chance against anything that might get under the net. That's what I'm going to do next, put the net on. And then this little bit here is the only bit that's not planted. I'm going to chop this down. I might just leave it actually because then it can just go back into the soil. This is lovage that takes over every single year, but it's not been too bad this year. This is where we had the baked potato squash that were absolutely delicious. I think what I'm going to do here is not plant direct. 2 reasons: the net's not long enough to cover this bed, and also things at that end usually get covered by the trees and things like that. So what I might do is the onions that I've still got left, I've got a few left in this bag but not enough for another row, and I've got another few left out of the other bags, just 1 or 2 here and there. I think I'm going to grow those on in individual pots, and then any that obviously don't come up or that are rotten or whatever, I can use the pots to replace and just plug the gaps. But also I'll have some for the back there and also for the ends of the other beds where I haven't sown anything. So we'll see how that does, but I definitely want some backups in pots anyway. Same for the garlic. So it's just good timing actually. It's about to start raining. You can tell it's starting to cloud it over really quickly, but it's only maybe 1:30, 2 o'clock, something like that. So I'm going to get this netted over because if I don't do it now, it won't get done at all. I know what will happen. And then I'm probably going to go in the shed because I want to get some sweet peas sown and also the onions that I've just talked about. The other thing that I want to get done this weekend, which might be this afternoon or tomorrow, is take the rest of these bean cages down. spinning round again, sorry. There's 2 left. Stephen has taken 2. I've given my hand to get those 2 down, and we've carried it over to where he's working, which again he'll show you all at once at the end. And then the other 4 that are left, I'm not sure if he needs them for the job that he's doing or if they'll just get stored, and then we'll see where we get to with what space I've got left and if I need to use this bed. But that is definitely on the agenda, because if I need that bed I need it empty, but regardless I want it tidying up anyway. Next up for me is the polytunnel. So I've been getting some of this rotted horse smoke. You can see some of this is still like an ash colour, but it's completely cold. There's no heat left in it, so this is as much rotted down as this will get. So I've got a barrow full, and I'm going to take it to the polytunnel and show you what we're doing next. Well, doesn't this look different? So obviously working on this side, Jack's taken all of the ground cherries out, Cape gooseberries out, and I've just been in and turned it all over. So I'm going to put 1 barrow full of muck just to kind of give it a bit of a feed, and then I think what we'll do is actually put the garlic in here. This polytunnel is on its very last legs. It's about, I think it's 6 years old, 5 or 6 years old. I got it off eBay for, I think it was £65, 6 metres by 3 metres, and it's here to stay basically because of the way Stephen put it in. He's dug it in a trench, and it's starting to drop to bits from the outside before any of the other bits that he's put in are dropping to bits. So I'm not sure how long we will get left out of this polytunnel. It has served us proud though. I think what we might do when we get the big polytunnel next year, hopefully next year, we could take the what's it called, the cover off this and use the frame, because there's 2 beds in here, so we could maybe just use it for fruit or something. We'll see, get to that next year. But anyway, this year I'm going to get the garlic in here, I think, because I'm running out of outside space, which sounds ridiculous because we've got nothing else in at the moment that's new plantings except the onions and garlic, but we've still got all of the winter stuff that I showed you, so those beds are still full at the moment, and I think growing it in here is going to be a really good idea. Now I haven't cleared out this side yet, but I just wanted to show you we've got some jalapenos here that, despite everything being drowned out by all of the tomatoes etc., have done really well. Now I have suffered this year. If we look on this plant, is it this plant? There's sorry, here's a good example. Can you see there is a beetle or a bug or something that burrows into the peppers, and a lot of them have suffered with this. That is a real royal pain in the backside. But anyway, as long as I've got some jalapenos, I'm really pleased with these. Obviously these won't grow on anymore in this weather, so what I'll do is I'll probably just pick these. I'm not sure if they'll be any good for seeds because they're not very ripe. Can you see, look, that's been burrowed into as well. It's a real pain when that happens, especially when you get some really good ones. Anyway, slight digression. Jalapenos, we will use those fresh, and I'll freeze some as well. And all of the rest of this bed here, you can see there's quite a bit needs clearing out. Jack's sort of thrown a bit onto this bed when he's been clearing his side out, but I'm really pleased with what he's done, so that's totally fine. This is another example. Let's pick this one off because it's never gonna, can you see how it's been burrowed into, and it's actually been eaten from the inside out? Really annoying. I had that one, yeah, I haven't had it for a couple of years, so I'm disappointed that that's happened. But to be honest, these peppers weren't coming to much in the polytunnel anyway, so if it was going to happen any year, this year is the best year. Right, get this muck on here and then we'll get planting some more of that garlic. Well, that's all of the garlic in. We've got a Provence white, there's only 16 of those cloves in, so I've filled that row up with onions, chestnut white, German giant, Russian giant and red duke, and I've just covered them all up ever slightly, planted them quite deeply, and then just covered them ever slightly with the compost. So I'm going to give these a water because this was actually really dry, and then that's that done.
$101 bars.
So as you can see, whilst I've been working in there, Stephen has been starting to fill this bed with muck. There's all kinds of different levels of decomposition in here. I can even see some of the horse's tail from when we cut her tail. So this is going to be absolutely fantastic covering this bed over the winter. Didn't bother taking out all of the leaves that have fallen or anything like that. All of that will just completely rot down underneath this manure, and this kale will hopefully stand as strong over the winter. We shall see. I've just noticed a bit of rubbish in there, so I'll get that out and continue raking. God, the shed is underwater.
It won't be sufficient to take all this away.
Oh my goodness. That's not... Is it? Freaking hell. We better go around.
Go check that.
Or is it because of the tree that came down? Oh. Oh. We've had more water than this. They're going to try and run away from us, so...
Oh God, look at all them pheasants and pigeons.
Oh, yeah,
Well, welcome to Sunday. As you can see from the earlier footage, we've had a lot of rain overnight, so it's about 3 hours later now, so we've just come out to double check. So this is what the problem is. As you can see, the river is way higher than it's ever been since we've lived here. And what we've got here is like a inlet off the beck, which lets all the water flow from the beck into the river, but the actual river is as high as the inlet. So it's just backed up all the way up to the top. What runs off all the fields and into the little beck that we have runs down the side of the house, and it's just basically just blocked up right up because the river's so high. I mean, if Tracy shows the video, we've got a 3-foot stock fence down there, and it's to the like second top rail of it. So we've had a lot of water, a hell of a lot of water. This field has never ever been like this. We normally have a little puddle over there where you can see the dip in the ground, but this is never here. So now we're just going to go over and check where the bridge was. It looked blocked, but I don't think it was. I think it was just the amount of water we've had that's just, like I say, it's just backed up. So we'll go up there and just check that before we go and check on the sheet. So this morning this was way over. You can see where it comes over under the bridge. You couldn't even see that this morning. It was actually coming way up. So finally it's subsiding. So hopefully in another couple of hours we should start seeing a bit of land again. So we'll come back and check out on it later.
Well, I just had to capture this moment. That's actually Stephen reading instructions. So after the madness of the weather this morning, we are now working outside. The rain has eased off. It's actually stopped for a little while. It's been on and off all day. We've got the horses out stretching their legs, and we've finally taken order of a replacement for this Parasine soil warming kit with a thermostat. We've decided...
Can't make head and tails of them, so I'm assuming...
We've decided just to replace the full thing because we weren't convinced that it was just the soil warming cable that we needed. So I'll leave a link if anyone's interested for the one we've got. Apparently the Parasine one have been replaced by a different brand now, and we've ended up getting a totally different one. Anyway, so Stephen is just trying to figure out how to manage, put this all together. But I think we're going to put some sand in and everything. I'll let him tell you all about that just now.
Well, it looks right. Well, it all looks pretty self-explanatory, but we'll see as we go on. So what we've got is an Alexa Garden Supplies thermostat with a thermometer on it and 12 meters of soil warming cable. So we've already got the structure built. It's already got some insulation in the bottom with some plastic around it and a bit of fabric to soak up some of the water. So what we're going to do is we're going to put, it recommends 50 mil of sand, so we're going to put some sharp sand in it, 50 mil of sharp sand. Then we're going to use the cable to go like in a zigzag pattern all the way along as much as we can get. And then I think what we'll do with this is the old system which has a thermometer going through which actually took the temperature of the soil when all that was covered, and that took temperature of soil. But this new one's going to actually take the temperature of the unit that it's in. So we're going to take this one off, do away with that, probably put the new thermostat somewhere around there and feed the new thermometer through the existing hole, probably up there, and hang it down from the middle somewhere. And then once it's all enclosed, in theory it'll take the temperature, and then you'll just adjust this to suit. So sounds pretty straightforward. So get rid of taking all the old stuff off, and then we'll get the sand in.
Have to make a bigger hole for that to go through. Plenty of room for that. So where do you want that? It's going to go along there. Where do you want that hanging? How low? About there?
Yeah, that's fine. Don't want it too high because it'll, nearer the soil the better, I guess.
So, oh, hang on. Right, so first thing, not a problem, but it's only got one. I thought it would have had one of them on either side to screw it in either side, but it doesn't. It only has one, which is strange. So I'll just put a couple of cable clips on the other side just to hold it level. I'll put one on that wire there, and then maybe there's another one there which will hold it how we want it, because then the other plug's going to have to go in there, and we'll feed the wire through the wood there. I'll have to make another hole to get the soil warming cable through. So I'll have to go and get my hammer. I don't know where it is. Right. It says you're supposed to use sharp sand, but we had a load of this yellow building sand kicking around from doing the outdoor kitchen roof, so that's what we're using. So it says damp, so we'll just run a gentle sprinkle of water over that first before we put the cable in. So then we'll dampen it off. I'll screw a hole in there to feed this cable end through, and then we'll put it all through, and then we'll do the zigzag, and then we'll put just another little sprinkle of sand over the top of that, and then the plants and everything that go in will go in the tubs, and then they'll just sit on top of the wire. That's the theory. So
I feel at this point we need to say you're not sponsored by that brand.
what brand? This? No.
It's got a massive sign on the back of those. We were given these overalls by a friend, not sponsored at all.
But if you want to sponsor us, feel free.
No, can't be done with that.
Oh, it's not tangled when we get all the way at the end.
Right, I've got the cable through, so I'm just going to give the sand a quick dampen with a mist on this, and we'll get it nice and tight so the cable will stick to it, hopefully. Because I did try and put it in, it was all over the place. Hopefully the damp sand will help.
It does say actually in the instructions that the sand needs to be damp anyway. I'm not sure if that's for a particular reason, but that's what it says. Just come off this end.
Just hold it down there.
How frustrating is this task, Stephen?
Just a little bit. We'll keep my calm, keep my calm. Right. Well, that wasn't frustrating at all. So, with the wires being all coiled up in the box, and it's a nightmare to get it straight, but we've got somewhere near. It recommends that the cables be 8 to 10 centimetres apart. That's why we got 12 metres, because we measured it and it worked out that we needed about 12 metres to get it done. And it's worked out about perfect. Maybe it's half a length of that short, but that's ideal. I'm not moving it now, so I think what I'm going to do is I'll dampen some more sand and then I'll just pat a bit more over the wire to keep it in place. But before I do that, I think I'll hook everything up, make sure it all works, so that I'm not having to dig up all the sand again. So we'll get an extension in, get it plugged in, get the thermometer in, and we'll get it all, see if it's working, and then we'll finish it off with some sand. Right, so I've got all the heating cable in, all covered with a thin layer of damp sand. I've got the thermometer in, and I've got it all hooked up, which it's reading 11.8 degrees, which coincides with the thermometer we've got in the greenhouse, which reads 11.9 degrees. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the frames on the front so it conceals it all, and we'll leave it for an hour. I'm not going to touch any of the controls yet, because I just want to see how much different it is when it's all enclosed. So we'll get the fronts of these on. And then we'll go pick my daughter up from work and come back and see what the temperature is then. Right, well, we've been out about 50 minutes, and as you can see, the temperature's dropped. So in the actual greenhouse itself, it's dropped a degree, and on here in the Propagator, it's gone up about 1.5 degrees. So this was reading 11.7, I think, when we went out, and that was reading 11.7. And now we're on 13.1, and on there we're on 10.7. So it is a little bit hotter. We've not touched it. I think it's defaulted to 20 degrees. So we're just going to turn it up a little bit and then leave it for another hour just to see how much temperature it is rising by. So according to the manual, you just press the up button and then you just press set. Now that should be set to 21. So if I press that again, yeah, so it's set to 21. And you can press the hot or the cold on this button. You can have it in Celsius or Fahrenheit. We work in Celsius, so we'll just leave it at that for another hour and we'll come back and see what the difference is. In the meantime, I'm going to show you what I've been up to. Now, you might have noticed while I've been working in here, some chicks roaming around in the background. Some of them have been adventurous and come out, and a lot of them haven't. So I'll nip around there and see if we can get any to come out. Right, as you can see, this is the new chick area. Now, I've had the heat lamp turned off now for about 5 days, so they've had no heat at all. So what I've done is I've cut another section into the barn wall and penned off this section here just with 2 bits of Harris fencing and this screen, which you can open and still get through. So the older hens are on that side who have all the orchard bit, and this area here is just to give the chicks a little bit of like outdoor experience. Now there's been about 4 or 5 or 6 that have ventured out and been a bit brave, but the rest are like, oh, I'm not going out there, I don't know what's out there. So I think I took a few bits of video yesterday, I don't know if Tracy will put it in, where they were dead nervous looking out and then it took a leap of faith, which was quite funny, but it seems to be working well. It just locks up exactly the same as the others on the inside, and this will be where they're going to stay for the next few months. Well, that's it for the barn. All the pens are finished just in time. The clocks went back last night, so it's 4:45 now. It's already getting dark. So this will last them now for the next 3-4 months through the winter, and then hopefully by then we can take all the pens down and they'll all just live happily together. That's the theory, but We'll see what happens. Well, we've just come out to check. As you can see, it's pitch black. It's been about an hour and it's holding steady at 14 degrees. The temperature in the greenhouse has actually dropped to 10 degrees, so it's 4 degrees higher inside there than it is out here. So at least it's going to keep the chill off anyway. So we'll just keep an eye on it over the winter and as it gets colder and see how it goes.
Well, the dogs have come out with me to check how the river's looking, which is very high. That is so unusual. This is a couple of days later after the storm, and it's very strange to see. You can't really tell there, but our stock fence finishes there. That's 3 foot high. So this is so much higher than normal, as Stephen was saying. Keep an eye on the dogs, so don't want anyone going swimming just today. So I've just come out basically to see how everything's looking, and everything, it's subsided really well. We could have been in a much worse situation than what we are, so I'm very pleased. I'm just going to check where Buster is actually. Oh, he's there behind me. He's too little to go off swimming, at least Annie's noticeable. Anyway, so things could have been a lot worse. We're very grateful for the little damage that it's done. We did manage to get into the vegetable plot and get the bean canes down. The rest of the garlic has been planted up in the polytunnels. That is now finished. I do have some left to put in pots, just for being able to grow on and fill the gaps, just in case we do get some. I was looking for Annie and she's literally stood by my side. He's trouble coming in the background. All done. Let's go and rescue a sheep that had got its horns caught in the fence, not ours. Anyway, I hope you'll join us next week for another video from the Smallholding. Take care.
Jump into the car on a Friday night, I wanna drive with you. Looking for a bar in the nearest town, I've never seen a sky so
Good
blue.
girl.